Hey everyone, it's Emanuel here, certified emotion code, body code practitioner, also certified group energy facilitator. Here we go, back into the body code, and super excited about it. And just wanted you guys to see my huge eyes above the book, but that's how excited I am. So we were reading, didn't make comment on 41 though, on the story of Bronson. So before I go into this, for those of you who may or may not know this, but I do leave this video that I'm gonna make right now on YouTube, but it's better if you look at it from Heal. The reason why I say that is because there's a lot of practitioners there. We have 1,600. If you're interested in like people debating, talking, not debating, but just people are just adding their input, that would be the place to go. And you can add your 2 cents. What was your favorite part? Or maybe someone makes a comment that you're like, oh, let me add to that, you know? So just people talking, I think that's the best thing to do. And to have a safe platform where you'll never get dismissed is good too. So anyway, this one is haveempathyandlove.com, and look for the Heal Book Club, and that's where you'll see me posting these videos as well and getting more comments there. Okay, so we're talking about page 42. It talks about on the next paragraph where it ends with remembered, says, one can only imagine how that child felt seeing. So this is someone that had, I believe, fear. Yeah, like he woke up at night and just felt a lot of fear, suffering from night terrors. Okay, so I have also worked with night terrors too. And again, you never want to assume what it is. This person was just a couple of trapped emotions from this other accident that they witnessed, or something that was about to be an accident. So I get that. But remember, this is the problem with gaining new knowledge, is we start losing the anything can cause anything scenario. And that is the holistic approach. That's the greatest holistic approach, is to never assume anything. So even if people start coming to me and telling me certain symptoms, I just say, I don't know where this came from, or I don't know, is this inherited? Could be preconception. I have no idea. Again, I don't want to impress my beliefs or my ideas onto the subconscious that actually knows the real reason why this person is dealing with certain symptoms. Okay, but the first thing is this night terrors going on. He made a comment there on page 42, the next paragraph. One can only imagine how that child felt seeing the headlights of a car coming right at him, right? So this was like a potential accident. Bronson's mind subconsciously trapped all those emotions, which then came out in the form of night terrors or nightmares and fear of going to sleep. Once the trapped emotions were released, he's able to sleep well every night. They felt it was nothing short of a miracle. Okay, what I've noticed too sometimes, and be careful with mothers or maybe single fathers, when you're taking care of your baby, sometimes that baby is absorbing what you're going through. So for example, I had a client that was the case. It was like the mom was a very, very busy, overwhelmed mother. And that overwhelmed got onto the baby, or she felt a no will to live, which means in the body code means very overwhelmed and you just need to take a time out. Or a will to die, maybe she's too much in her head. And this baby is absorbing these energies, will to die, no will to live, overwhelmed, self-abuse, frustration, whatever, peeved, you know? And it's interesting because, you know, when you attract entities, which are in the body code, some evil spirits, what's happening is a lot of these could be disembodied spirits, people who have lived before and now they're dead, but they're just wandering around. And I personally believe, just like Dr. Brad, that spirit paradise and spirit prison are here on this earth. And it kind of makes sense, because spirit paradise, they would want to be close to their family. You know, they're just here on earth. Spirit prison, because they're learning new things here, and people technically in spirit paradise are teaching those in spirit prison, so it makes sense that they're close. So now, do they have divides? Do they have like places where like, hey, you can't come in here? Yes, there's places they cannot go. But when it comes to people's homes, and when it comes to people's, they're just walking around the hallways. This just is what it is. And what you want to realize is that at the end of the day, God is more powerful than all of that. So you don't want to. Dr. Brad even calls entities like flies. Like, you know, just put up a little fly trap and then whoop, just like take the fly. And that's how he wants us. I think that's how our Creator wants us to walk around, never having fear of these things that we cannot see, these dark things. But what's interesting is that so typically when I work with someone, let's say I was working with an adult and they had an entity with them, I'll ask, is there an associated imbalance? This is key. Is there an associated imbalance that attracted these entities to you or will attract them in the future? I'll ask that again, or I'll say it again. Are there any emotional energies that attracted these entities in the first place or would attract them in the future? Because it's almost like you're banishing them out. And they're out in the backyard, and if you don't remove the thing below it, they'll come back and they'll cause the same type of havoc. It's almost like they got punched in the face, thrown out of the bar, and now they're coming back to cause more issues. And so, but by removing the energies, for example, you might have a will to die, no will to live, everything like that, and they match with you because guess what? They dealt with that in their life. Just because you go into the other side of the veil, it doesn't mean, oh, I'm perfect now. Like I'm one with Jesus. Like you literally bring, it's almost like as if you scribbled on your body the whole time and you bring that with you. Of course, unless you connect with Christ and atone and have Christ atone. But for the most part, we're kind of carrying our sins with us, or we're carrying our emotional baggage with us, and we're sorting them out even on the other side. We're still progressing, okay? And so, it's really important to know that sometimes when you're impressing upon a child and this child is getting sort of attacked by your energies, the entities look at them going like, oh, this little baby has a will to die. This little baby has an overwhelm. All right, I'll just attack the baby. Then boom, night terrors for the baby. I work on that baby, remove some absorbed stuff, and sometimes not sometimes, I always remove the entities. All of a sudden, no night terrors. So isn't that interesting? Kind of like, it's not the baby's fault. They have the no will to live, will to die. But because of the interaction with the parent who is overwhelmed, that does feel these energies, it's like a magnet for entities. But it's technically should have gone to the parent, right? But it goes to the baby because that's where the energies were left. So anyway, just an interesting story. Some of my clients, their babies are dealing with that. Some of them not. In this case, there was a very traumatic potential car accident that could have happened with the child, and these were haunting him at night. No pun intended. Okay, so page 43. I think it's the second to last paragraph. All knowledge exists in this database of energy. So although your subject has never heard of the body code, his or her subconscious mind has complete access to it through the field of intelligence. Because of this, through muscle testing, the subconscious mind can immediately take you to relevant imbalances. A lot of people ask that. There was actually a video on YouTube. There are only 2 videos on YouTube that I saw when I first came into this field 8 years ago. And it was the heart wall video that was an hour and a half long with Dr. Brad, and then him doing some muscle testing on a lady who had some pain in her body. And someone did ask the question, can you use my arm for this muscle testing with these charts when I've never seen the charts before? Great question. And the answer is yes, because we can connect with infinite intelligence. That's why in the book, in one of my favorite books of all time, Understanding the Map of Consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins, he talks about how collectively as the world, what level are we at? And he talks about how he can even ask previously before Jesus, where was it at? And then it was like 100, or like 50. Then like Buddha brought it to like 100. Then like Jesus brought it up to 200. And we're kind of just stuck right there, where like the world is around this sort of pride, courage. I think it was like anger, pride, and courage. It's around that realm, and there's up to all the way to 700 to 1,000, which is enlightenment. But our world's stuck there. It is kind of a dog eat dog world if you look at the levels. But how could you muscle test the consciousness, the world consciousness? Well, you can't. If you look into a product in the TV and you can't really see all the ingredients on it, you only have 2 seconds to look at that, your body could read those ingredients because it's in the field of intelligence and just ask, would this benefit me? Yes or no. Or you can use your fingers. Is this yes or is it no? Or if you're rubbing your fingers together, if it's very smooth, that means yes. If it's false, no. In fact, you can try, this is one of my favorite ones, by the way. It's a Chinese way of finding out if something true or not. So you could say, my name is Emanuel. This should be pretty smooth, right? It says, my name is Bob, and all of a sudden it's like sticky. It's like kind of like doesn't rub too smoothly. My name is Emanuel, smooth. my name is Bob, all of a sudden sticky, you know? So it's really interesting. But that's how you can find out different things. You know, what's the level. Even what's interesting is you can, just a little side note, you can even test someone's level of frequency that you're hanging out with. You know, are they over 500? No. Less than 400, 300, 200, whoa. More than 100, 110, 108. Oh, look, he's at 108. And then check the level. Be like, this is the level. This is the emotions they typically feel. This is the, they view life like this. They view God like this. The way they extract information is this. So I would look at that map. I would keep it close to you. It's called Understanding the Map of Consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. Look for that map. And it's just cool. You can tell if your friend's having a bad day. Just check their level, see where they're at. Check yourself. That's what I like to do. Check my level. Use the body code and say, what imbalances can I release so that I can go to a higher level? And if you release 2 or 3 things, watch what happens. Retest yourself again. You can go higher and higher and higher. And so the goal in life is to get to the 700 to the 1,000, but it takes a lot of body code work to get there because we just have so much baggage. We're like the bottom of the barrel in regards to inherited energies from this whole generational family, right? So, but anyway, one of the things that's really interesting that it says you can test certain things, even when you meet new people. If you're talking to someone about the emotion code, body code, make sure you use key words that their subconscious goes, ding, 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 ding. I know exactly what that is. So use heart wall, use trapped emotions. So use subconscious words is what I call them. Okay, let's go to page 44. I think I did kind of mention biolocation before, so I'm going to mention it again. But somebody asked me in the YouTube channel, how do I do biolocation? You know, and it's really simple. I learned it from my mentor, and what she told me is this: is that you want to kind of put your client in a container. Okay, like mentally put them in a container. The reason why you do that is because you don't want them sharing cords with you. You know, it's like we want to be emotionally sovereign with anybody that you connect with. Okay, very, very, very key. Because what could happen is if you connect with all your clients, now you're feeling when they're processing up and down, and now you've got problems. So you want to make sure that whoever you're associating with, you want to, at nighttime, you can even do this on yourself. You can use your middle finger if you want, and just say, I'm releasing all cords that I created today or someone sent me today. That's a real intention. However many cords there are, just release them all. You'll notice a little sense of peace kind of come in. It's because you are connected to some people and it's affecting your energy and affecting your emotional homeostasis. So, but anyway, something I want to share with you is you want to picture them maybe while you're asking for help during the session, just kind of close your eyes and picture them like going into like a container. Even before you start all your work, you can close your eyes and kind of like take this little, you want to take this like a little person, like this is like your little you, right? Little feet, you know, and just take that little you all the way to like the core of the earth, you know, into the core of the earth, and then tie it to the core of the earth and comes back. And maybe you're going through the chakras. You go from the top crown chakra all the way down to the root chakra. You go through all your chakras. This little man is kind of going down there. It goes all the way down into the earth. You just like picture it just kind of like flying through the earth. And then it kind of ties like a knot, like around Mother Earth, like the core of it, you know, and then boom, flies back up, goes up the root chakra, you know, all the way through all the sacral chakra, ajna chakra, everything crown chakra again, and then poof, off to the universe. Now, beyond the universe, you can go to any star you want. For me, I use Arcturus. You know, Arcturus is like my favorite star, and I just go there and I stay there. And in fact, I know Arcturus has a heart chakra, just like the Earth has a heart chakra, which is Glastonbury. So you can Google that. Google heart chakra of the Earth, and it's Glastonbury. And there's different chakras of the Earth here. Mother Earth has a chakra system. But what's interesting, if you go there to Arcturus, that's, you know, some people go to other stars, or they want to go to whatever. Go wherever you want. You can go to the Goldilocks planet if you want. But the last place that I would have you be in is be here on Earth. Why? Because you're probably courting a lot. And plus, if you go from a star or from a different place, for me, my intuition increases because there's no interference up there. It's like really peaceful up there. And it's almost like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like part of your spirit's there. And you're kind of overviewing the world. And it's like this is as long distance as I can get. And kind of like when you're high up here, kind of like sort of like a God perspective, you could see kind of what's going on down there more. Similar to a client session. You can kind of see things that they don't see, you know, and to help them out. That's the only reason to do that. You're not doing it for ego. You're doing it to serve them, to help them out. So that's what's worked for me. That's called biolocation. That does help out, besides seeking for higher power. 45 says getting help. You guys see that on the top? I had a client, her early 30s, who struggled many years with infertility. She and her husband finally saved enough money to start infertility treatments, but they're very disappointed. By the way, speaking of just pregnancy in general, did you know that Brad is the one that really, I'm not gonna say the word cured because that's a very scary word out there, you know, but yeah, he basically found the real reason why people have morning sickness. Now you might Google online and see people saying, this is a remedy that can what? Help you. This is a remedy that could what? Assist you or temporarily alleviate certain symptoms, but it doesn't say to like banish it, like to like fully help it out, unless you look into the body code. And there's a lot of different interesting things happening. Spiritual, physical disconnection with the baby, the uterus, the placenta. There's all these kind of like different cords, kind of like, and they're like strong or they're weak, and it's just going to different parts of the woman, you know, and spiritual woman to the physical placenta, spiritual brain of the woman to the physical body of the baby or whatever, the fetus. There's all these cords, and if you fix these imbalances and like reconnect it really well, all of a sudden no nausea, no throwing up. So it's really powerful. I think he said he got that when on his third child. I'm not sure, but his third child or his fourth child inspired this because guess what? His wife had morning sickness, and he just prayed, asked for help, and said, what do I do with my wife that has morning sickness? And then he got these downloads of these spiritual, physical disconnections with the baby. Also, where it says, during her next session, this is very powerful what he did here. After my prayer to ask for help with this client, it occurred to me to ask specific questions about how she felt about being pregnant. Questions kept coming into my mind like, is she okay with being pregnant? Okay with being a mother? What's blocking her from conceiving? What can I clear that allowed her to conceive a child? So he started going through some deeper levels here. In fact, I know a client that would, you know, I've done sessions like this where they weren't safe to feel like a mom, and I can kind of work on that. So again, intuition, to ask for help and saying, is there a better question to ask? And I know once a mentor once said that the questions you ask determine the lifestyle you live, or the questions you ask will determine the altitude of how high you go. It's true. In your sessions, if you want more higher, inspired, powerful sessions, why not ask like, okay, I've been stuck with this client with this thing. What is going on? Is there something else I should be looking into? You know, kind of an interesting story. One of my really good friends, who's a body code practitioner too, his first testimonial was doing sessions so that his wife can have a baby, and twice it worked. And then just recently, about a year or 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, he had 3 babies, triplets. So I'm like, whoa, too much. I always make a joke. I'm like, too much body code, you know, bring it back a little bit. But anyway, yeah, it does help. If you're having issues with infertility, body code's very, very powerful as well. Okay, let's go to page 46. It says, on the top it says, love is central to this work. Why? Because love is the energy by which transformation and healing can occur. As Deepak Chopra once said, the use of love is to heal. When it flows, that effort for the depth of the self, love creates health. So here's something that I did recently in my solar rooms. So if you're part of my weekly healings that I do, if you notice, if you feel way more lighter throughout the day, and just everything kind of doesn't bother you as much, maybe you're more loving, it's because I put you in that container at 540 and above in the map of consciousness. So I purposefully knew that 540 and above is like a conductor for miracles, according to Dr. David Hawkins. He talks about how miracles don't just happen just like both people are at a low frequency. It usually takes a high frequency person. In this case, it was like, you know, Jesus Christ, high frequency. but he would say something to them to increase them to the 540, or to make them feel his love, or to make him think outside of himself. You know, even a person said, help my unbelief. You know, it's almost like, help me, I'm kind of in a lower frequency, increase my frequency. And then he's, I will help your belief, you know, so it's kind of acknowledgement of it. And then just by him saying that, by him asking for help, and then him receiving it, the frequency raises. And then around the higher realms, 500 and above, miracles happen super simple. So that's what's really interesting. No miracle has happened in low frequency. Something happened before to increase its frequency, and the miracle could happen. So interesting enough, I just said, I never thought about that. Let me just put the solar room in at 540 and above. And so it has all to do with love. Okay, what are we doing here? To successfully use the body could help another person. Allow your heart to fill with love. We're on page 46, still second to last paragraph. That love is instantly communicated from your heart to theirs. It's disarming on a subconscious level. Barriers and protections are lowered in the face of unconditional love. And here's a recommendation. If you are a practitioner, I would recommend you give a gift for free. Do pro bono work. Donate. You know, we donate to some charity, you know, like a orphanage. I used to give free sessions for cancer clients. I used to give free sessions for people who had PTSD and were veterans. I did a lot of pro bono work, you know? So that really kind of shows where your heart is. And I've always wanted to do it. Always want to find a way to give back. So do you have something in your mind that you want to give to? Do you have a charity that you'd love to give, maybe a percentage of your profits into that charity? I would do that, because then it's really kind of like the more love you give without any type of return, it's going to come back somehow, you know? And anyway, 47, it says on the third paragraph, another way to feel love for what's not working well is to see it as a gift. The pain may be the only opportunity for you to notice and identify an imbalance that could create something much worse later if it's not dealt with now. So for those of you who are clients or your practitioners, just know that if you have pain in your body, guess what? Your body's telling you that there's some emotional baggage that is overdue for healing. So don't get mad at your pain. Your body is actually just saying, hey, there's some history that you need to release and clear, and I'm holding on to this pain until you let go of that history. Very simple. So don't take it personally. Some people, you get mad, oh, I hate my pain or whatever. But now the problem is that you're adding more to it, actually. If you've noticed that, if you start getting annoyed with it, for some reason the pain gets worse, that could be the law of attraction, but that could also be you're producing emotional energies that make it worse. So what's better is, oh, I'm grateful for the pain. That means my body has a teaching. Should I do the session today, or should I do it next week? Should I bring it up to my practitioner? Probably should. So that's why sometimes when I meet with you, if you're very familiar with meeting with me, I'll ask you, I'll just say, hey, do you have any pain right now? I know we're supposed to work on something else, but is any pain right now? He's like, yeah, actually today it was really weird. Last night, for some reason, I got pain in my neck, and it's like a 6 now. I don't know where I never get pain in my neck. That's because the body has a time clock and knows exactly when you're going to meet with the energy healer. And so it's going to kind of reverberate louder to be like, hello, if I reverberate loud enough, you're going to tell this practitioner that you're dealing with something. And this is something I've been trying to get rid of and heal, but you keep talking about other topics, you know? And so sometimes pain's the only way it actually will pay attention. And so that's just the way we're built. Also too, in 47, it talks about how if you, the last paragraph, fear and doubt cannot coexist in a heart that is filled with love. So if you're feeling doubtful about your ability to help and heal yourself or others, add more love to the mix, watch the fear depart. You also can do a body code session to release blocks to love yourself and others. There is a 2 areas that I would recommend, and you might want to write this down, is resistance to receiving and giving love. That's a real metric. So resistance to receiving and giving love. Check your percentage on that. You know, right now, hey, I know I'm not at 100, but let's just try. Let's see. 80, 70, 60, 50, 40. 60, 50, 40. 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7. So I'm at 47. You see, that's that's 50-50 kind of, you know. Can I do better? Sure. Can I do a session on myself after this video? Sure, you know. But yeah, I would love to receive and give more love more freely. So there could be a resistance. So check that for yourself. What is your resistance to receive and give love, right? Obviously, the heart wall is a major, major one that's causing issues. So obviously, I would get to that as well. Okay, but let's, that's called the resistance metric. Okay, so intention works. Okay, you guys, on page 48, and it talks about like you know, allergies, right? Here's what's really interesting. My wife, Jess Zevallos, amazing. She's a QLA, which means she's a quantum living advocate. So she does emotion code, body code like she used to. She was certified, but now she's into like the frequencies realm. Something interesting about allergies. You can remove imbalances to help out your food allergies or your food intolerances. That's possible. But what's also kind of cool too is that those are kind of like the heavy hitters, right? Intolerances, they give you headache, they give you stomach, bloating, whatever. But also it's not good if a body's not good for you and you feel tired or you feel like you have a headache or there's other things too. Doesn't have to be a major one that you have, like milk is like a big one, you know? It could be like cranberries, you know, and you might be like, why? I thought cranberries are always good for you. Think of every single food has a different frequency to it. And for whatever reason, the frequency you have now, the model that you have now, doesn't rub well when you put it in your body, and it's just they're kind of like not receiving it too well for whatever reason, right? If you eat a lot of cheese, you know, your body will start rejecting it. Be like, no more cheese, right? So just know that the AOScan is an amazing biofeedback machine, and it will tell you, it'll scan your bodies to see which kind of food you should kind of avoid. And it's funny because I've done some scans at a conference before, and the person said, oh yeah, meat, chicken, we had this yesterday. Oh, we had this yesterday. Lentils, I had this yesterday too. And the body's saying, I've had enough of that. So just kind of give yourself a day or two. I'm still processing it. It's in the red. So if you ever want a inner voice scan, if you're like, I want to know what my body is telling me, definitely email my wife, healwithjess@gmail.com. Again, it's healwithjess@gmail.com. I believe it's only $44 for like an inner voice scan, which means she scans your voice. It reads over 8,000 frequencies from your voice. And then it tells you which emotions you're overusing, which ones you're suppressing. And it may tell you even a pathogen you're dealing with right now. It's kind of crazy, just with your voice. So it's really interesting. But yeah, and she can tell you some more services that come with that machine. But definitely get an inner voice, because sometimes it'll tell you kind of, I think it's called an easy scan. So if you get an easy scan, it tells you which things you should avoid, just the code red ones. So that's really interesting. 49, it talks about, 49 talks about we can expect miracles. I really believe that. If you pray and ask for help, it'd be fun if you go to the pearly gates later on, we find out that only the prayer between the client and the practitioner was what really changed people. But really what Dr. Brad did say, and I've mentioned it before, is that really how much you love the client, how much you care about them. In fact, I have days where I'm eating something and I'm reading a blog and I'm like, oh, that one client would definitely benefit from that herb. Or, you know, it's like, I'm always thinking like, how can I help out my clients? Oh, you have a pathogen? I know a guy, Scott Werner, he's great. It's almost like I'm intertwined with my clients. Like, you know, it's like I want them to be better in every other life, you know, and that's the type of attitude you need. If you're going to do body code work, it's like you have to have love and gratitude the whole time. It just keeps pouring out for people. So I'm so grateful you guys got to listen to this. Feel free to comment below which thing stood out to you, which thing was like, oh, that's interesting, or oh, that's fascinating. I appreciate all your comments below, and I'll try to respond back to you. Again, if you're on Heal Network, which is haveempathyandlove.com, you'll really see me commenting there because there's a lot of people there adding their input. So look forward to the next YouTube video, and we'll talk soon. Take care.